So this month's theme is open to possibilities. And so far this month, Reverend Patty has walked us through infinite fields. She had us name your game. And then last week, she invited us to see the invisible, do the impossible. So here we are at the end of the month, and today's focus is the big vision, the big vision. So the question of the day, really, is how big is your vision, right? It's a big question. We'll be looking at that. But you know, as part of Centers for Spiritual Living, we have a huge vision, actually, because we're dedicated to creating a world that works for everyone, right? Here's our global vision statement. We see a world in which each and every person lives in alignment with his or her highest spiritual principle, emphasizing unity with God and connection with each other. A world in which individually and collectively we are called to a higher state of consciousness and action. Right? So that's a lot of ideas and concepts, so I want to break it down just a little bit so we can really take in the power of that intention. So we're seeing a world where each person lives in alignment with their highest spiritual principle, right? So aligned with the truth that is our divine truth, and living the qualities of God. Seeing a world where we emphasize our unity with God and our connection with each other, right? That we are one, and we live that truth. And where we are each called to a higher state of consciousness and action. So it's following that call and taking the steps to it. So, you know, that's a big vision. That's a big vision. And so, you know who else had a big vision? One that's very much in line with our vision? Jesus. As you know, as John pointed out earlier today, that it is Palm Sunday. And by the Christian calendar, anyway, it's also known as Passion Sunday. It marks the beginning of Holy Week, the last week of Jesus' life, which ended in his crucifixion and then his resurrection on Easter Sunday. So in case you don't know or you don't remember, here's a quick review of the Palm Sunday story. So it started after Jesus raised Lazarus from the dead in Bethany, which happens to be only about 2 miles from Jerusalem, just to give you an idea of geography. And so hearing about that miracle, the Pharisees, these were the most conservative religious leaders of the time, well, they became afraid of Jesus' growing popularity and authority, and they feared that he would threaten their own position within the Roman Empire. They also suspected that Jesus might come to Jerusalem for Passover, which, by the way, began yesterday and ends on Sunday. But so they put out the word to let the people know if they had heard if Jesus was coming and when. Okay, so if anything, what that did was just build the anticipation. You know, will he come? Will he bring Lazarus? I want to see that, right? So when Jesus actually enters Jerusalem, the crowd is ready, right? There's high expectations of a big show, right? A grand parade of strength and of power. Because they were looking for someone to be their leader, a conqueror, a savior, someone who would free them from the Roman rule and the domination. right? So their thoughts were, here's someone that's going to save us. This is great. I'm going to the parade. See this person that's going to be my savior. And, I just want to reflect a little bit of how often we do that in our lives, looking outside ourselves for someone to come in and fix the world. Somebody else to do it, so I don't have to. So I can stay in my safe little place, and the world will just be fixed out there. So that's kind of where we're at here with the crowd looking for Jesus as he rode into the city. They're expecting a king, a ruler, a redeemer. But that's not the message or the vision of Jesus. His was a message of love, not of conquest or even redemption. Franciscan priest Richard Rohr says this. He says, Jesus did not come to change the mind of God about humanity. Jesus came to change the mind of humanity about God. Right? That was his role. That was his view. Because he knew his oneness with God. He said, God and the Father and I are one in John 10. He recognized that God lives and breathes and has its being as him and as each one of us. As a master teacher, he modeled that divine, the truth of our divinity. Right? And he taught that all are equally loved and cherished by God. Right? The poor, the downtrodden, the outcasts, as well as the rich and famous and powerful. Right? All are equally deserving of God's love. And he was clear that our mission, our purpose, is just to share that love. Right? Freely and fearlessly with each other and with ourselves. Right? God, love your neighbor as yourself. Right? It all starts here. It starts here. And then moves out from there. Loving all the people around us, no matter their differences. And that's how we create a world that works for everyone. That's how it works. But that mission requires stepping out of our comfort zones, leaving the familiar, the safe, right, the comfortable, and embracing that larger vision. And it does start with ourselves, not some great leader out there, not some powerful person out there. It's with us. So the ultimate question is, what am I to do, to be, to become, in order that this vision of a world that works for everyone can be realized? Right? What am I to do? What is my individual part and role and purpose here? Because the answer it can always and only be found within. Ernest Holmes wrote this in Thoughts Are Things. There is always the greater possibility available to you. There is a divine strength and an infinite wisdom at the center of your being, ever waiting to be released. It will enable you to put more into life and living and take more out of it. The limitless creativity exists and expresses through all that is. And it's always seeking a fuller channel of expression through you. And I love the conciseness of that, and especially the idea that it already exists, and it is seeking to express through us. Our work is simply to let go of the obstacles that hold us back. So how do we do that? Well, one of the best processes that I know, the best ways, is through a process called visioning. because that's what clears the way for that limitless creativity that he talks about to express, and opens that channel of expression. In case you're not familiar with visioning, here's a brief description. It's a meditative practice where we set aside our preconceived ideas and become a space of deep listening to the divine within. And in that silence, we pose a series of clarifying questions, and then just allow the answers to come forward in our awareness. Those answers may come as words or phrases or images or symbols, sounds, feelings, sensations, or just more silence. But the intention is to realize the most expansive possibility, whether we're talking about a project or an organization or our own mission, right? Through visioning, we move our human self out of the way and allow the inflow of the divine wisdom into our experience. So I have to say, I'm in the process of deep visioning right now because I'm moving into a different stage of life. It's called retirement, or as Ken Gordon says, rewirement. I like that description. And so I'm doing some deep listening and opening to connect with that divine urge. What is trying to express next through me? What is it that is there? And so I'm asking the question, what is Spirit's highest ideal for my life? As my life, for Spirit is my life, right? Practitioner Ray Jordan is the founder of the Higher Vision Institute. And she said this. She said, in visioning, we are not trying to make things happen. We're asking what we must embrace in consciousness in order to become the vision waiting to happen through us. I love that. So it's a receptivity, it's receptive, it's being available to receive that vision. You know, envisioning is all about aligning with infinite possibility. Through the process, we embrace new ideas, we embody a new belief, and we become that which we already are, right? Michael Beckwith is the founder of Agape International Spiritual Center, and he puts it this way. He says, when your thoughts and actions begin to align with the imperatives of your soul, you enroll the full support of the universe. Unimagined possibilities begin to open up as you synchronize with the divine. I love that. Synchronize with the divine. You know, that's when those unimagined possibilities begin to open up in our lives. But that won't and can't happen as long as we stay stuck in our smallness, right? The safe, familiar ruts that we may be living in, well, those are not really aligned with the imperatives of our soul that Michael Beckwith talks about. To truly embrace your vision and enroll the full support of the universe, that means being willing to step out of the comfort zone and into your growing edges, right? Yeah, that's a pretty scary place, but that's required. You know, it's about identifying the areas of growth that the vision is calling you into. So it's asking questions like, what possibilities am I open to? What opportunities for growth do I welcome? And what must I embrace? Right? You know, embracing something or someone, that is an act of receptivity. We can't have or experience what we're unwilling to receive. We have to be open to that. So what must I embody? What are the divine qualities within me that I am being called to remember as my truth? From Ernest Holmes, we should take the highest thought we have and attempt to enlarge on this consciousness until it embraces the more vital concept of reality. Consciousness in this sense means an inner embodiment of ideas, an inner embodiment of ideas. So it's all about opening up to that divine urge that is always leading us, and then trusting that even within our difficulties, there are gifts. Really, no matter the challenges, whether it's with other people or our circumstances or just our own inner states, there are gifts to be found. Because every challenge says the same thing. It's telling us that our soul, our essence, is just simply seeking to express more completely, love more deeply, and understand more fully, but it's meeting resistance within us, right? There's a block. There's something that's stopping that. It's our soul's desire to do it, and it's meeting resistance. So clearing the obstacles that obstruct the path, once we do that, the way forward appears. Remember, the vision is already complete in the divine mind, and it's just waiting for us to clear the way. So that's why in the visioning process, there is another question to consider. And that question is, what do I need to release in order for this divine idea to flourish? As we release that which does not serve that divine idea, that higher idea, and embrace new ways of being, the vision will unfold organically. So releasing is the process of allowing and aligning with what already is. Michael Beckwith says, where there is willingness, there is a way. Where there is willfulness, there is a wall, right? Willingness is where the way is. When we are willful, we run into that wall. And the truth is, we don't have to make anything happen. We just simply rest in the awareness that the vision is being revealed and it is already complete, and we just need to move with it, right? From the Tao Te Ching, when I let go of what I am, I become what I might be. When I let go of what I have, I receive what I need. By yielding, I endure. When I give of myself, I become more. I become more. So in my visioning practice, I'm asking, well, what do I need to let go of to receive more, right? And for me, it's letting go of the safe, the familiar, the full-time job, the secure paycheck, all of that, and move beyond my ideas of limitation. So that way I can become more fully open and available to that greater expression that is always seeking to live me, to be me. Because ultimately, the truth is we're not just here to manifest our own personal desires, right? We're here to be of service to each other, to love our neighbor as ourselves, as Jesus said, and to create a world that works for everyone. We're called in such a time as this to awaken humanity to its spiritual magnificence. I love that. Awaken humanity to its spiritual magnificence. We're here to be part of the collective evolution and take part in the awakening of the world. And visioning is a powerful practice to lead us in that journey. that journey to the infinite possibilities for creating that world that works for everyone. So, back to the question we started with. How big is your vision? How big is your vision? It's all up to you. You know, your life, the possibilities of your life are infinite. And it all begins with that question, that quest, right? That quest of your vision. The openness and willingness to receive the big vision. So that's my invitation to you this week. Receive that big vision. Thank you very much.